Hello and welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 100. This is the Suppressor Special. So, shh, suppressors. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else that gun enthusiasts may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. Bandwidth for this episode is brought to you by Patriot Patch Co. Visit patriotpatch.co to pre-order some custom PVC morale patches designed by yours truly and sold and packaged by Jacob Challen, the president of the Firearms Radio Network. So head on over to the website and check out our latest patches, including Bullet Bill, Hello, My Name Is, Name Tag, and some In God We Trust patches. So check that out. Guests are always welcome on the show. And speaking of guests, we got our awesome panel of co-hosts joining. We got Tony Simon, and we got Chad Wallace. How's it going, guys?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Oh, yeah, it's going great here. You guys?
Not bad.
Woohoo.
Yeah, it's been a good week, I should say. What everyone doing guns this week?
Well, I'll go. We had the multi-gun steel challenge to raise money for my friend, and that went over good. It looks like we raised about $5,000 for him, so that was pretty good. A lot of fun shooting. Rumors are I may have actually won the match.
It's fixed.
Yep, it was fixed. And so we had great turnout and lots of fun shooting. Lots of prizes raffled off. Well, you guys heard about some of them, but it was a good time. I think everybody had fun. And I even won a prize, and it's going to cost me money. I got
What'd you win?
I got a 50% off a Defiance machine action.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, it's going to cost me a fortune, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good deal. So that's what I did in guns.
Yeah, I was super stoked. I saw that you got like some cannon products and X products drums. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I was hoping to win one of those, but hey, it's all for a good cause. So I was like, there was one person there. They literally bought I don't know how many tickets, and they kept walking away with prize after prize, but all the money was going for a good cause, so it didn't really matter who won.
Man, I should have drove down there.
You probably would have been like me and only won one prize or something. But
Yeah.
yeah.
How about you, Tony?
Oh, well, Wednesday I went to the range again. That's my range day. And I took my AR because I want to legitimize how well it does shoot. Yes, it's for real. About 1.5 inch groups with the thing, with iron sights at 100. Friday I went down to up to Gun for Hire range. That's where I host my Second is for Everyone events. And I shot at their range with my CZ. I picked up some steel case ammo from somebody real cheap. Yeah. He said he didn't like the way it shot in his gun. Well, I fired one round off, and the steel case got stuck in it, and we had to beat it out of the pistol. And then I appeared. Yeah, it really sucked. I know everybody up there. I know the trainers. I know the safety officers. And actually, it was a safety officer that fired the gun. First round off, he said it felt like it was a double load. He unloaded it. He took it to the back. He got it unjammed, and he was like, "If I were you, I'd throw that ammo away." So after that, Anthony from Gun for Hire brought me on there, and I was on podcast 224 of Gun for Hire Radio talking about the Second is for Everyone shoot. So if you guys want to check that out, that's cool, because I sounded really good on that show, like I knew what I was talking about, unlike this one. So that's what I did in guns this week.
Cool. Well, I guess I should talk about what I did in guns. I actually proposed to my girlfriend at a shooting range, of course, believe it or not. And for our anniversary, I gave her a Ruger SP-101 That's a Talo distributor exclusive with some nice scrolling engraving on there. And so that was her anniversary gift. And then I took her to the range the next day and put up some targets just to make sure she could group with that little short barrel, and she did okay. And so I had the RSO kind of distract her while I swapped the targets, and I put up a yes and no target. Of course, the yes one was about 6.5, 7 inches in diameter, and the no one was about a little less than an inch in diameter. So I kind of tipped the odds in my favor, but she wasn't going to say no anyway. So she said yes, and she was shaking so bad that she missed the target the first time, and then she hit it a couple more times, not quite in the middle, and then she got one that was kind of close to bull, close enough to count. So dropped down on one knee, and I locked that down. So
romantic. I locked that down.
That's right. I did what Beyonce said. I liked it, so I put a ring on it.
Well,
There you go.
Yeah. So it's all good. She got a new gun. She got a ring. I'm not sure which one she likes more. Actually, I'm pretty sure she likes the ring better. But it's kind of like that's how I've always pictured popping the question. So I did it. So if you all want to listening and you're not quite hitched yet, and you're looking for a good idea that incorporates shooting, you're free to take that idea and maybe expand on it. I would suggest making sure that she can hit the target, and because she's going to have all sorts of nerves. So, maybe like a rifle, a scoped rifle would probably be better. So you're guaranteed if it's zeroed, she's going to hit the target.
Yeah, my wife would have nailed the no if she had a scoped rifle.
I think my wife, I would have given her a shotgun. That way it would have, and not put a no target up.
Yeah, well, she's really into scrapbooking, so I knew that this would make a really great memento that she can put into a scrapbook later on with all the photos that we took afterwards. Have the targets in there, even maybe have the brass put into some kind of ornate thing.
Did you get one of the Bowers purple anodized suppressors, since it's a suppressor show?
Nope.
No.
No.
Slacker.
Maybe she doesn't have anything threaded yet, so we'd have to get her a threaded barrel for her Glock 26.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah. So, yeah, this show is going to be all about suppressors. Before we get into the products, like I'm sure everyone's anxiously waiting to, I want to also mention that if you're shopping for holsters outside the waistband or inside the waistband, you're looking for a quality Kydex holster, check out Bravo Concealment. They're not a sponsor of the show, but I do mention them every week because you can use the promo code RTT Combo 10 to get 10% off your next order. That's going to be good as long as my review of the RTT Combo holster is up. So go ahead and use that and abuse that if you feel the need to purchase anything from Bravo Concealment. Also, this is a brand new announcement that we're going to be kicking off on this 100th episode. We're going to do a new giveaway. I'm sorry, I can't give away a suppressor. Even if I could, I would want to keep that for myself, so that wouldn't happen. But this is a muzzle device, and it's by a company that does make suppressors. So I'm giving away a muzzle brake. This is a Surefire Pro Comp. This is a 5.56 muzzle brake, threaded, just standard 1/2 by 28 TPI. It comes with a crush washer. It's a really nice 2-chamber muzzle brake for your AR-15 or whatever other rifle chambered in 22 caliber that you want to put this on there. It's really robust, and it'll guarantee to make you shoot better, or at least think you're shooting better. So I'm going to be giving this away. So what I want you guys to do is leave this podcast an iTunes review. We haven't had one in a while, since I think April. So I'm going to need you to leave me an iTunes review. I don't care if it's 1 star or 5 stars, just be honest. But I'm also going to have you copy that review, go on over to the Firearms Insider Facebook page, and you're going to paste that review as a post to our wall. And do not forget to include your iTunes username. That way I can make sure, double check, yes, that review is on iTunes and it's published to that Facebook. So that'll be great because, I'll let this run, probably till Halloween, man. Let's say we'll run this till Halloween, and then I can randomly choose the winner, and then I can actually contact them through Facebook, which saves me a lot of trouble having to track people down, just using their iTunes usernames. So that's how we're going to do it. And of course, you have to like Firearms Insider, the Facebook page, in order to do that. And that's kind of what I want also, to increase our likes as well as our reviews. So it's a good product, man. I mean, I forget how much I paid for this. Probably around $50 or $60, somewhere around there. But it's a really good break. It worked well for competition, well for shooting on the bench. It definitely would help greatly reduce the muzzle rise for follow-up shots. It's not an adapter for suppressors, so if you're wanting a adapter for suppressor, this is not what you want. But if you're not interested in that, or if you live in a state where you cannot own a suppressor, Tony, then this would work great for you.
Okay, all right. I wasn't going to say this, but I'll say it now. You want reviews? I can get you a bunch of negative reviews. All I have to do is say 40 caliber Smith & Wesson is not an obsolete pistol round.
We forgot Sigma.
No, I'm just saying. I wrote something up, posted on Simon Says Train, and some people lost their mind because I have the audacity to say 40 Smith & Wesson is not an obsolete round. Not that it's better, not that there's anything else, just not obsolete.
Why don't you go and say Fire Clean as Crisco and get the flame really going? So, all right, so let's get it. I've got my suppressor here. I've got my Tactical Solutions Cascade on my Ruger Mark III. It fits perfectly matches the outside diameter of the barrel. So this is going to be my little podcast body today. I got this right here next to me, so I can definitely get in the mood. So speaking of 22 suppressors, we're going to go in caliber order on this episode. We got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 suppressors to talk about today, and they're going to be in caliber order. So this first one up is a 22 long rifle suppressor, and this is from Dead Air Armament. So Dead Air has been making some pretty awesome cans in 5.56 and 7.62. The 22 is kind of something that they're just releasing, the Mask 22, and there's also a Mask 22 HD, which is more of a heavy-duty version of that. It's got an MSRP of $499. Now, stop right there, because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, 22, man. I've seen cans go for, under $200 for a 22. It's just like the most easy. It's the cheapest and easiest suppressor to just get into if you're getting into stamp collecting, meaning you're collecting your tax stamps and you're adding suppressors to your collection. Why would I spend more than twice as much for a 22 can? Well, everyone's got a 22 can these days. It's really simple. Some of them come apart, some of them don't. Obviously, the cheaper ones don't come apart, so you're just going to have to drop those in some kind of sonic cleaner or let them soak in some kind of solvent to get some of that crud out of there. Everyone knows that 22 long rifle is the dirtiest round to suppressed. You're definitely going to get a lot of carbon buildup because that round doesn't have enough force, velocity, and just awesomeness behind it to knock all that carbon loose and kind of naturally clean the can out itself. So you're going to get a lot of buildup. So having a can that comes apart for a 22 long rifle is almost a requirement unless you really just don't care or you don't shoot enough to justify it. So, coming soon, the Mask 22 by Dead Air Silencers. It features a blend of titanium and 17.4 pH stainless steel construction. It's a direct thread application. So what sets the Mask apart from its performance is the ease at which it can be disassembled. So, it has a nice balance of weight, and it's got nice cleaning intervals that are unmatched by the competition. When you take the baffles out, actually, the baffles are specially designed so that they overlap, and that carbon doesn't. It has a really hard time getting through the gaps in between the baffle stacks, and then collecting on the outside of the baffles against the inside of the can cylinder, and then building up to the point that it actually becomes a little bit hardened, and it makes it hard for that baffle stack to come out. So that design into the baffles, you actually get a lot less carbon reaching that outside and making it hard for those baffles to come out. You will get a little bit of dust to come out. You'll see little dust rings on the inside, but those very easily would just wipe out or rinse out. So, no, this is not the cheapest 22 suppressor you can get, obviously. This Cascade by Tactical Solutions was like $130. This is my very first can. So I brought this up today as a comparison. While this can does not come apart, it's not user serviceable, so you definitely lose some functionality and a little bit of longevity out of it if you're going to shoot it a lot. I just take the occasional pot shot at squirrels with it, so I don't use it all too much. So back to the Mass 22. It's got a nice Cerakoted finish on there. It's backed by their no questions asked lifetime guarantee. So if for whatever reason down the line you need to, you have a baffle strike, no questions asked, they'll take care of it for you. And it does have a fairly aggressive design. It's got some flats kind of built into the cylinder, so that assists you in kind of really tightening it down. It's easier to tighten a cylinder down when it's got flats versus if it's just purely round.
Yeah, like you said, I didn't see a weight on it, but being titanium and stainless, would hope it was pretty light. But yeah, from my experience, if you have a 22 can, you need to get one that takes apart. There's just no good way to clean them. And also the other thing is, the best thing to do when you buy like a 22 long rifle can is weigh it when you first get it, and then you can tell how much buildup is in them just by weighing it. And you'd be surprised how much lead and carbon gets built up, and even something like this that's, claims to be really good at not collecting carbon, it's still going to collect some. So yeah, you definitely want to take apart can.
Yeah. So I did find some specs. Of course, they don't have it on their website, but looking on the Silencer Talk forum, so its weight is 6.8 ounces, and the length is 5 1/8 inch. It does have a, let's see, the K baffles. The primary baffles are K baffles that are more of a double cone baffle. So the face of the K baffle isn't just flat or milled out. It's a cone that sweeps forward toward the next cone.
Okay.
And then the forward baffle nests within the preceding baffle.
Right, it interlocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the blast baffle itself is a hybrid M baffle that creates a symmetrical blast chamber for the bullet to enter to ensure stability. So if you know nothing about suppressors, and so far all of this is just a foreign language to you, baffles are the chambers on the inside of a suppressor that kind of capture the gas that's expanding as it's following the bullet out from the cylinder. So those chambers catch that gas and help basically quiet the explosion that happens at the end of your barrel. So when we talk about baffles and baffle stacks, they're literally like just stacks of, baffle chambers that stack into each other and slide into this tube.
So I was looking at, I went online to check out anybody who's doing a review on it, and I found one of my favorite guys, Twang and Bang, and he had this dead air suppressor on his Ruger 1022, and pretty much you just heard the action going back and forth as he was firing it, and then he put it on a Savage. I forgot the Savage bolt action, but it was 1 decibel louder firing around than when he dry fired the rifle.
Yep.
That's how quiet it is. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw that video too. Twang and Bang is an awesome reviewer. Like, anytime I'm doing a video, I'm constantly like comparing myself. Like, is this as good as Twang and Bang? Just so down to earth and enjoyable to watch. And he gets cool stuff.
Yeah, he does. This being Jersey, and you know where Susan, what was that Watts Coleman lady from Every Town for I Want to Take Your Guns and Mom's Bitch a Lot? I can't think of the name of her.
Who shall not be named.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's right, though. I went out on the street and I picked up a suppressor. It's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Can't mess with the kid. I live in Jersey, baby. And I also played airsoft because I got 30-round looking magazines. But look, it looks real, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So this is as close as I can get to a suppressor in this state. Shut up. It looks real to me.
just take some tater tots and shove them down in there, and I'm sure it'd quiet for a couple times. So
I hate you all.
You can get the Dead Air Mass 22 for $400 from Hanson Brothers. They're out of Virginia. I just pulled up their website now. So of course you're going to find it for about $400 straight price. But yeah, it's going to be really user serviceable and have the best shelf life. So if your purpose is to put this on a 1022 and just shoot the snot out of it, or if you've got some kind of 22 with a bump fire stock and you're really going for that, simulated full auto fire, you're going to want something serviceable and that's going to last you, because that's going to shorten the life of cheaper cans like this one very fast. So I would highly recommend this if your intended use of 22 long rifle is a lot of rounds, very high round count, and you're not going to be like religiously cleaning it every time you go out.
I was amazed that this is rated for the 5.7 round. This is rated for the 5.7, about 28 FN round?
Yeah, actually, that's the difference. The Mass 22 is kind of more standard. From what I understand, they are the same price, which is perplexing because usually any kind of heavy-duty or HD rated of a product should be more expensive, but they seem to be the same price. The HD is rated for higher velocity 22 caliber rounds, so you've got your 5.7, you've got your 22 Magnum, I believe, and then also 17 HMR.
Yeah.
So if you're
17 HMR.
Yeah, I would suggest that because this is just a 22 long rifle can, and I really wish that I could use this on 22 Magnum or 17. That would give me an excuse to buy 2 more rifles. So, yeah, if you're looking for that versatility of that can, I'd definitely go with the HD since they seem to be the same price.
Is the HD the same length? Or
I don't know because I've seen specs on the 22 regular, but I don't see specs on the HD, so I'm not sure the difference in length.
Okay.
Since they're both made out of titanium, I can only assume maybe. I know titanium is usually what's used to handle higher velocity or higher pressures, but because the regular mask already has titanium in it, maybe it's got less 17.4 stainless steel and all titanium. I don't know. It's a good question to ask. You could go onto the website deadairsilencers.com and shoot them an email, and they'll be sure to answer that for you. Go ahead and talk to, like, Mike Papa seems to be the good guy to talk to. That's the director of product development there. So moving on to the next one, we got a lot of these to talk about. The next one is a pistol silencer. This is the Griffin Armament Revolution. It comes at 9mm and 45 ACP. So the MSRP for the 9mm is $795. For the 45 ACP, we're looking at $849. So the Revolution is a fully featured, configurable, and modular silencer with the ability to shorten it if you want to. So the Rev 9 for short can be configured into a short K configuration by removing the stainless black oxide external booster housing extension and collapsing the booster housing or 3-lug assembly into the silencer tube. So this configuration is best used wet because you do lose some decibel reduction. So if you add like 5 cc's of like rem oil, wire pulling gel, or some kind of medium, it suppresses the sound even better when you're using it in the shorter version. So it's kind of taking the, I'm not sure which one came out first. I think these might have been out first before the salvo. But as far as suppressor technology, length seems to be something that the suppressor obviously depends on length to have more chambers to quiet that round better. But of course, adding length to the end of your gun, sometimes it seems a little bit long, a little heavy, a little clumsy, and it's nice to be able to shorten that. So with the Silencer Co. Salvo 12 shotgun suppressor that we talked about, like way after SHOT Show this last year, you can shorten that down depending on how much suppression you want and how much overall length you want. So kind of the same premise we're looking at here. I'm not sure who did it first. I'm not going to make any guesses because I don't want any of those companies getting mad at me. But it's a really nice feature to have, especially if you've got like a Glock 17 and you're like, man, this barrel's long enough. I don't want a full-size 7.6-inch can. I want something a little bit smaller. I don't mind if I lose a little bit of decibel reduction. You can do that. If you switch it to your Glock 19 and you want it on the full-length configuration for maximum suppression, then you have a shorter barrel in that firearm, so you kind of make up the difference. So it's kind of nice to have that flexibility.
Well, the other thing with it is you pretty much have to have it the longer length on a handgun because it needs the booster to cycle.
Yeah. So if you were going to put it on a rifle, like a 9mm carbine or some other kind of threaded rifle in that caliber, a sub 2000 Kel-Tec, you could take that off because you don't need the booster.
Right.
I was watching a video put out by Silencer Shop, and they were using it on a M&P, Smith & Wesson M&P pistol, 9mm, and used both the long and the short, and it fired no problem. But the funny thing was, there was 1 decibel difference. That was it, between the long and the short in their test. I think it came out to it dropped it down to like 125 or 128 decibels. So that's just pretty cool that it wasn't a significant amount of difference, but it depends on how much you shoot it, I guess.
Yeah.
It might louder and louder.
Yeah, so it uses tin-coated 17.4 frustoconial baffles with a return to zero geometry. So that's a big thing with suppressors too, is that depending on the design of the baffles, it's kind of a race to see who can make one that's really quiet, got good, efficient baffle design, but also you don't have as much as a zero shift. Because threading on a suppressor onto a rifle, more than likely your zero is going to shift. It's either probably going to fall lower because of barrel droop. The harmonics of your barrel, especially if it's a longer rifle barrel or carbine barrel, your rounds are going to drop a little bit more. Both are probably subsonic or traveling a little bit slower. A lot of people think that a suppressor slows the round down, and to those people I would say stop playing Call of Duty. That's not real life. It provides more time for that gas to be behind the bullet leaving the barrel, so it does increase your velocity a little bit, believe it or not. But back to that return to zero thing, obviously putting onto a pistol, a lot of suppressors are designed where you can kind of index them, you can rotate them, almost 360 degrees and index where that is, so you can shoot, and if your point of impact is not up to your point of aim, you can kind of keep rotating it until they line up, and then you can kind of lock that down, index it, so that repeats. So that's basically, return to zero technology. And that has a lot to do with the baffles and how they key together every time. So when you do disassemble the silencer and you clean all the baffles, if they're not numbered or marked and you forgot, oh no, how do these go back together? If you put them back together in the wrong order, you could have a huge zero shift. So that's something that Griffin Armament has brought, is that you can basically put these back in the same orientation so that your point of impact shift will remain the same, negating the need to re-zero your carbine or pistol after servicing the suppressor. Yay!
Yeah, exactly.
And then that titanium nitride coating, that tin coating, what I call it, Helps increase wear resistance 5 times over traditional untreated stainless steel surfaces. So obviously that's just going to mean that whatever crud you get on the inside is going to come off a lot easier because of that coating. It's a lot like coating an AR-15 bolt carrier group. It's just going to be a lot easier to clean in the long run when it's got a coating on there. So the diameter of this can, diameter is also very important, especially if you plan to use this in a like AR-15 that's got a handguard, and you want to kind of have a shorter barrel than the handguard, so you can kind of suck that suppressor in underneath the handguard, make it all cool, sexy, tactical. That outside diameter is kind of a big deal because obviously if you've got a handguard that's got an inside diameter of 1¼ inches and you've got a can that's 1.375, that's bigger than the inside diameter and it's not going to fit in there, so it's going to have to stay on the outside, so hopefully your barrel protrudes past the end of the handguard. For pistols, it doesn't matter too much. Most all suppressor designs are going to need a taller set of front and rear sights in order to be able to see over the top of the can. You could still shoot, just point shooting almost, or kind of use your right eye and your left eye, whichever one you're dominant, and kind of imagine your target through the can that's obstructing your front sight. But it's 1.375 inches with this 9mm Rev can, so you're going to have to get taller sights regardless. The 45 can is it's the same diameter. The length difference between the two. The 45 does come in a K configuration, obviously, because you can take it apart. So it's 8.2 inches full size, 6.75 inches in the K configuration. The 9mm suppressor is 7.6 inches overall, and they do not say what the K configuration is on their website. So I would assume since it'd probably be the same difference. So subtract 8.2 or subtract 6.75 from 8.2 and subtract that from 7.6, and that probably gives you the K version of the 9mm.
Hey,
Sorry to make you guys do math.
I'm not on here to do math, okay?
Yeah,
Pi.
neither am I. Pi.
The answer's pi. Pi.
That's right. Blackberry or rhubarb.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that even though you stuck the 9mm one in here, I think I would, as a lot of people who know anything about suppressors know that, get the larger one if you don't mind the extra weight. So in this case, you'd buy the 45 ACP one because you can use it on anything smaller, like a 9mm, and usually the amount of sound difference is not enough to make a difference that you can even actually hear.
Yeah, I'm very glad you brought that up because that's something that's also a big consideration when you're buying a suppressor. The wait time, the amount of time that it's in NFA jail, as we call it, because you've sent your $200 check in or you've handed it to your your supplier, and they've mailed that off to the ATF, and they're processing your Form 1. Hopefully you've got a trust. We'll talk about trust at the end of the show because that's definitely an easier way to get your suppressors. But you're going to have anywhere from a 6 to 8 to, on really busy years, a couple years ago, it was like a 12 to 14 month wait to get your tax stamp back and approved. So you're going to want to make sure that you've picking a caliber that might suit multiple guns because these are takes so long to get these in. It's not like you can buy a 9 one tomorrow and then the next week go pick up a 45 one. Like sometimes it makes a lot of sense to just get a 45 can, get the pistons to fit your different barrels, and then that way you have one that you can switch to multiple rifles or pistols. Some guys are even shooting 300 blackout subsonic out of certain 45 cans. It's still a little bit murky as to whether that's okay. A lot of manufacturers are saying, hey, we are not telling you to go ahead and do that because if you slipped in a supersonic round in there, the pressure might damage the can and hurt yourself in the process. So, of course, no one's going to say, yeah, this 45 can is 300 blackout A-OK. But it is possible if you're very strict about only shooting subsonics and you know what you're shooting. But yeah, 9mm 40. You can pretty much slap that can on anything smaller. So that might make more sense to do that. So back to this Griffin armament can. It's 17.4. Obviously, I said that. It's got a Teflon impregnated hardcoat anodize. That sounds dirty. That was a pun. It's got it comes with a pistol or 3-lug mount interface. No tools required for disassembly. Fully shielded silencer tube for ease of cleaning. Comes with a pouch, and a .578 by 28 booster piston is included, and that does have a lifetime warranty as well. And it is full auto rated, in case you're wondering, and you've got some kind of full auto MP5. And I hate you. I mean, I love you, and that would be cool to have too. So, do you guys mute yourselves?
Yeah, I did. I muted myself.
Okay. Who's that guy?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Alex.
Hey, thanks for joining.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting me kind of crash a party with you guys. TJ said that I could jump in with you, but I didn't want to interrupt where you guys were.
Oh, no problem. I was going to say, who the heck is that? Yeah, so you want to go ahead. We just talked about 2 suppressors. We're just about to move on to the third one, but you want to introduce yourself to the listeners?
Sure. I'm Alex Melnichuk. I've been on the listening to the podcast for quite a while now, and trying to communicate with a bunch of you guys on Facebook and different things. I really like what you guys are doing, and just wanted to see if I could help out and input on anything. Seems like a couple of shows here recently, you guys have been talking about half of the gear that I've got, so I figured it'd be a good time to come on and show some of it off. Maybe I could talk about something before you actually got to it for a change.
Nice. Yeah, I think, was it when we were talking about the 3-gun stuff, you do a lot of competitive shooting, right?
Yeah, quite a bit. I do a lot of USPSA especially, and a little bit of 3-gun and practical shotgun too. Yeah, I heard you guys talking about the CZ75 Shadow, the Target 2 model, and I just picked one of those up recently and threw the photo up. Literally, I picked it up just a couple of days prior to that episode.
Sweet. So, do you have any cans in your collection?
I've got quite a few, actually. My motto is kind of suppress all the things. Little things, big things, suppress them all. There's a little Walther P22 with a Silencer Co. Sparrow. Really love this one. This poor thing has a lot of abuse, a lot of rounds through it at this point. Surprised it's not rusted shut. I heard you talking about putting some media and different things in the can, running them wet. This thing literally just gets water dumped into it and kind of put away that way too. Unfortunately, I don't take care of it nearly enough, but it still runs. It's been a great little gun. Real fun. The can I actually just tried to take off of the gun, and it was taking the barrel extension, the threaded piece off with it too, so definitely needs a little bit of maintenance on it. So that's one of them. I've got a couple of AAC rifle cans. This one's actually a M4 2000, but it's in 6.8. I got into 6.8 a couple of years ago, even though I don't own the caliber anymore. This is on one of my SBRs here. So just a fun little gun. I actually shot this in a 3-gun match last year, and it's got some plastic melted to it from throwing it in the dump barrel and burning some leaves and things like that afterwards too. But fun little guy, and remember, suppress all the things. Here's a Springfield XDM 9 4.5 with the Silencer Co. Osprey on it, and again, this thing's pretty abused too. It's, shoot, I don't know if that's carbon or water leaked out through the welded seam on here, but I mean, it's just, they're beat up. More so than I should probably admit to, but they keep running. And then behind me over here, I've got a bolt action 308 and another AAC can on that one. So, like I said, suppress all the things, man.
That's right. Silence is golden.
Yeah, right.
So the next product that we're going to talk about this week is pretty interesting. I just saw it in a Recoil magazine not too long ago. This is from Amtac, and that's Advanced Manufacturing. So they've got these CQB suppressors that are a little bit unique because they, instead of having the threads like at the back of the suppressor, it actually overhangs your barrel quite a bit, so that it actually makes up in some length. So it only adds 3.7 inches to your rifle's overall length, and then a lot of the meat of the suppressor is actually overlapping your barrel. So the advantage to that is obviously getting a good amount of suppression, but also not adding a lot of length to your rifle. That's kind of a big thing. A lot of guys, don't want to have to stamp their lower, meaning getting an SBR to have an overall shorter rifle, whereas you can get a 16-inch barrel and put one of these bad boys on there, and you're still going to be under 20 inches. Whereas if I take a regular 7, 8, or 9-inch can and put it on a 16-inch barrel, man, that thing is long, and it's not very like low speed, high drag kind of thing. Or actually, it is low speed, high drag. It's not high speed, low drag. Yeah, I got that mixed up. So this is unique. They have a 5.56 and a 7.62 variant. The 5.56 is $875 MSRP. The 7.62 is $975. So I was very surprised by that they weren't asking for more, being that they've kind of got this kind of new niche to it that not a lot of people are doing. So they have the CQB series and the CQB-M. So the difference between those is that the M is a little bit shorter, so it features it hangs over the barrel about 4 inches and then past the barrel 3.7 inches, whereas the CQB hangs over your barrel 6 inches and adds that 3.7. So it's got a difference of basically 2 inches. So both the CQB 5.56M and CQB 7.62M are 7.7 inches in overall length. Over the barrel length, you're looking at still under 4 inches. The diameter is 1.62. Now that's kind of an issue because if you want to tuck this thing inside your handguard of your AR-15, there's not a lot of handguards that are bigger than 1.5 inches. So you're going to have to really find a meatier, free-floating tube if you want to get that overhanging sexy action going on. So I don't know if Yankee Hill has a tube that's got an inside diameter that big. So you might have a little bit difficulty in that. Though the reason why they made it a little bit meatier as far as bigger width is obviously you've got a little bit less length in front of the muzzle, so you're going to want a little bit bigger chambers for those gases to really get caught in, and you get a good suppression rating. So both cans are rated for between 15 and 22 decibel reduction, and the compatibility, a 10-inch barrel with a pistol length gas system, a 14-inch barrel with a carbine length gas system, 16-inch barrel with a mid-length gas system, or a 20-inch barrel with a rifle length gas system. And why they mention that is obviously you've got that barrel overhang. So you've got meat of the suppressor hanging over your barrel going backwards. So if you had a 16-inch, if you had a barrel that had a really weird gas block like a dissipator or something, where your gas port is really close to the end, it obviously wouldn't work because the suppressor would be interfering with that gas block or vice versa. So you wouldn't be able to do that.
Hey Ryan, on those ones, I'm not sure if it says it on there or not. Is it a direct thread or is it a quick detach?
They look like direct threads. Looking at the inside of the pictures, the ones that I got in the show notes, those kind of look like they're. It's of course it's hard to tell because your barrel actually goes inside the suppressor quite a few inches before it threads in. So, being that they do not have any kind of muzzle brakes or flash hiders that these would, kind of interface with, they have to be direct thread, I would say.
Oh yeah, it does say 1/2 by 28 on the 5.56 and 5/8 by 24. I didn't notice that before.
Okay, good question, man. That's another big thing is that if you want a suppressor that you can quickly swap between rifles, if you want to just get one 30 cal can that you can have on your 308, your 300 blackout, your 5.56. You might want to look at getting one that uses a muzzle brake to interface onto. That way you just get 3 muzzle brakes instead of 3 cans. So you can swap them. Direct thread isn't bad. I mean, what's an extra 20 seconds of just unthreading from your barrel? But that's just me. I've heard stories of people launching their cans downrange because there was a baffle strike because it didn't line up with that muzzle brake correctly. I'm not going to mention brand names, but that is kind of a concern. So I always kind of prefer direct thread because I guess I'm just not tactical enough to need that extra 2-second quick change between rifle barrels.
Yeah, you don't have the tactical coolness to need a quick change suppressor for your needs. I am, but I can't have one because I'm so tactically cool. I've been stuck in Jersey.
I have to be tactical with my 300 Blackout handy rifle.
Yeah, you and TJ both got one now, huh?
Yeah, they're fun little toys. They're one of my favorites to teach new shooters with, especially being, single shot. That's very, very safe to work with, and having the silencer on it, man, it's just so quiet. You can give all the instruction in the world and not have to worry about being able to hear anybody over gunfire and things.
Yeah.
Well, it also people don't develop that flinch when they hear a loud sound. Some people have never shot a gun before.
Yeah,
and
most
you put
definitely.
something in, and the loud bang freaks them out, and that's one of the things the suppressor kind of abates there. It takes care of that problem.
That is exactly what the XDM9 and my little P22 with the Sparrow on it. That's why they have so much abuse and get shot so much. These are what I use to introduce new shooters to the shooting sports, really.
Yeah, I've held one, and the length of poles just seemed too short for me. It would be great for obviously someone smaller, or if you want to have a build for a child to learn to shoot. They've gotten the 22 down. You're ready to step them up with something a little bit more substantial for hunting, perhaps. But for me, I just didn't really work for me. I went with the 700 AAC SD. Those look pretty good still.
One of those little guys right over there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm waiting for that Magpul Hunter stock to come out.
Yeah, I've been waiting for that for a while now too.
Yeah. So, in case listeners are also waiting for that, I can give you an update that they are shipping the black stocks like earlier. I think September 10th is when they started shipping the black stocks, the Magpul Hunter 700 chassis. So, if you ordered black, it's in the mail. If you ordered OD green, flat dark earth, stealth gray, or I don't know if there was a foliage green or not, those are going to come a little bit later. So unfortunately, there's a little bit of wait on that. Also, the magazines and the Magpul bottom metal to swap out the hinged floor plate and use their magazines that they're coming out with. That's running behind, so we're looking at like a month from now. So probably like October, like mid-October, we're looking at the release of those. So just giving you guys a plug. I should have mentioned that at the beginning, but if you're a valued listener and you've stuck with us and listening through the whole thing instead of just skimming, you just got a valuable information there. So you're welcome. So, yeah, I could see if you wanted to suppress a rifle barrel, obviously if you've got something longer than 20 inches, adding a can on there that's between 7 to 9 inches on top of that, you got a pretty long barrel sticking out. If you're hunting or truck hunting where you're throwing it in your truck and jumping out, you kind of want a shorter overall length, and that's why the 300 Blackout rifles are popular because they've got the 20-inch barrel. Of course, you can get a 16-inch barrel. Also, lots of those 308 rifles are coming out with shorter and stubbier barrels with a more bull profile. But having a can like this would kind of help reduce that by saving you some by 4 inches and by overlapping your barrel a little bit. Obviously, you don't have a gas block or anything tactical to worry about impeding it, so these would be great on bolt-action rifles. One important note that I forgot to mention, obviously with this can, your barrel diameter is going to be important. So the maximum barrel diameter you could have on either one of these 5.56 or 7.62 cans is 0.76. That's the max. So if you got a 3/4 inch barrel diameter, you're okay. If you got anything bigger than that, anything crazy for like bench rest, it's not going to work.
That's cool.
Yep. So the website for that is amtacsuppressors.com. and you can check out the CQB and CQBM. So the next can we're going to talk about is a 308 can, but it works very well on 5.56. When you're looking at this thing, it just came out like a couple weeks ago or a week ago, so it's really new on the scene. It looks a lot different than what you're used to seeing. It looks like something you'd find in your parents' nightstand, if you know what I mean. It's ribbed. It's very interesting looking, which sets it apart from what you're used to seeing on the market. That was innuendo if you did not get that. But this is the LaRue Tranquilo sound suppressor. They call it the M308. MSRP is for $699, so super good MSRP right there. It's really hard to get 300 or 30 caliber suppressors for under $7. So if you get it for about $6 street price, you're looking really good. So the benefits to this guy is a little bit more. I see the industry moving more past this since the suppressors have been exploding in popularity. Now we're starting to pick at all the issues with suppressors, the little nitpicky things that people have. So getting gas blasted in your face from the back pressure is kind of a pet peeve for some people if you're shooting a gas powered rifle, so an AR-15, AR-10, anything that uses a gas impingement system. So basically, when you're shooting suppressed, you've got a lot of back pressure that's actually traveling back in the barrel, and it'll go up your gas port, go down your gas tube, kind of go down your charging handle, and kind of hit you in the face, escape through the cracks or the seams in your rifle, and hit you in the face, and your eyes are water, and your eyes will turn bloodshot, and people will think you've been doing some drugs. So back pressure, you can kind of shoot and get used to it, but if you're doing a lot of like full auto fire, or you're shooting not subsonic, you're shooting fully rated high velocity ammunition, back pressure and gas blowback is going to bother you. So the Tranquilo by LaRue Tactical actually is designed to reduce that back pressure by bleeding it off within the can. So the design implemented what they call SOT, Safer Operator Technology, which here we are just naming three-letter acronyms for things that are kind of obvious. So it mitigates the gas blowback using LEPE, lower ejection port emissions. I'm just going to call that LEPE for short. Reduces dangerous materials and contaminants that can contact your face. So it's an internal design in the can that allows a percentage of the pressure to bypass the main flow path, which is down in your bore, resulting in extremely low gas blowback and softer recoil, with the benefit of optimum noise and flash reduction. So it's made out of 17.4 stainless steel with an Encoloy A286. And so it's got a stainless steel. It's robust. It's got that chromium nickel grade of stainless, hardened and precipitation hardened treatment. A lot of fancy metallurgy words I'm not going to bore you with. So all the components are precisely engineered to fit together, as they're saying. There's no welds to fail or dimensionally migrate as heat builds up, shifting your bore center line. So obviously, as metal heats up, it expands, and so that's why if you're shooting for accuracy out of a suppressor, you're not just going to shoot, 308, every second, shoot a round. And that can's going to heat up, and the metal inside is going to start to expand, and your zero is going to shift regardless. So there's no need to fix any of that issues. With the way they designed this. All the parts are perfectly aligned when assembled. So LaRue Tactical, they're all about the accuracy, and they wanted to do it right. So they wanted to make sure that the suppressor remained locked when attached, so a captive locking ring securely grips the suppressor to the adapter. So this is not a direct thread suppressor. It does use an adapter. Along the tube, knurled bands provide structural robustness. Those are those ribs that I made a joke about earlier. basically there to help give a stronger structural robustness to the outside, as well as giving you a little extra grip for installation and removal. That's kind of a good thing to have, because suppressors, obviously they heat up, especially in the back where it's contacting the threads or the muzzle device if it's interfaced to that. And sometimes that connection can get a little bit more tight fit, so it's good to have a good purchase when you're gripping that can. You want to remove it. Having a little bit of flats, or in this case knurled ribs for your pleasure, kind of help to remove that can easier. Just don't try and do it after dumping a mag, because you will burn your hand. I hate to ruin that Darwin Award moment for you, but the cans get hot.
Yeah. Don't they sell suppressor covers? I think SOE Gear has some, right?
I actually have Tab Gear makes suppressor covers custom to your dimensions, and I actually purchased two. One for my AAC Cyclone, and one actually for my Yankee Hill Free Float forend, so that it covered the entire Free Float handguard, and it looked cool, I guess. Costs a lot of money, but you give them the diameter of your suppressor and the length, and they will automatically, without telling you, or they do tell you, but they will make it so it's shorter by, I think, 1/4 of an inch, because as you shoot your can and you're out in the sun and that material gets warm, it will stretch. That denier or cordura will stretch out. So they always make it shorter by 1/4 of an inch. That way, if they made it to the exact length of your gun and it got hot and it stretched out and you had some overlapping your muzzle of your suppressor, there's a chance that some of those gases could start to shred and tatter the ends of your suppressor cover. So they're wrapped in cordura. You've usually got a denier outer shell to that. Sometimes they've got either Velcro as to attach it and tighten it, or they use that not paracord, but that kind of elastic bungee cord. So yeah, suppressor covers. There's a quick 101 for you.
Well, you forgot.
Yeah, because I mean, really. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say you forgot the little rubber kind that just slip over the edge end too.
Suppressor condoms.
Yep.
Wow.
They're actually
Ribbed for her pleasure.
Yeah, they're ribbed too, but they're ribbed the wrong direction.
Oh
Wow.
man. Oh man.
Wow.
I'm not gonna touch that.
Wow. I thought
Especially
wow, really? You're not gonna touch it?
Oh,
That's what she said.
Oh, Tony, you're on timeout.
Have you guys had any ill effects from having those covers on there? I've never used them. My mindset was those things are just going to trap the heat on the silencers themselves, and I'd rather it dissipate and get rid of the heat first.
Yeah, that is actually a very good point. I mean, that cordura is supposed to help absorb some of that heat, but if air is not touching was that convection, not drawing that heat away from the metal, it's just kind of staying in there. So that is a good point. One main benefit to having a suppressor cover, whether it's silicone or cordura, is that your can gets hot. If you want to take it off, you've got to wait for it to cool, or you got to spray it with water or put a glove on. Whereas if you don't have any of that stuff, if you got a cover, you could just squeeze down on the cover and it'll protect your hand from getting burned. So
yeah, we have at the shop at Immortal Arms, where I buy all my stuff from, we have a couple of tactical hand mitts that we can use to pull the silencers off if they're still too warm to touch otherwise.
Just ask your wife for an oven mitt for Christmas, and you can take that to the range wherever you go, and you can use the oven mitt to take the suppressor off.
That's pretty much what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, understand one thing. More important than shooting accurately is looking cool at the range, and you can't look cool with an oven mitt on.
I think you can. You can.
You
look
have not
cool
seen me on the grill then.
with an oven mitt on at the
Dual-wield
range.
silencers with an oven mitt.
If you're swapping out a 50 BMG barrel on an A2 or on an M2 or an MG42 barrel, you can look cool with oven mitt.
If you want to feel more manly, you can just grab some welder's gloves, and that'll do the same thing.
There you go. Welder's gloves.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the Tranquilo, or Tranquilo, if I'm going to pronounce it correctly, as the Spanish call the word, was designed as a 308 suppressor, but it works very well on 223 rifles. There's adapters available both in 5/8 by 24 and 1/2 by 28 thread pitch. The adapter's patented dual shoulder design seats the suppressor in perfect alignment with the bore every time and eliminates gas from escaping to the rear of the suppressor, keeping attachment threads clean and free of carbon. And the adapter does come with a Theta shim kit, just a shim kit to make it index correctly to your barrel. So the weight is 23 ounces, so it is a heavier can. I know when you're getting in the 20-ounce range, it's a little bit on the heavier end. The length is 8 inches. The diameter is 1/2 inch for 5.56 and 1 3/4 inches for 308 or 7.62. Obviously, the finish is 17-4 stainless steel. The adapter, the LaRue muzzle brake has got that same stainless steel finish on there. Attachment method is fast attached thread-on with a captive locking nut. So I think that overall it's a really good price for a 308 can. I paid more for mine, and it doesn't have all these fancy features or advancements. It's just as strictly an AAC thread-on can. So I think it's a really good price point that they're coming to the market with. Especially, did I mention if it came with the muzzle brake or not? I don't know if it does. It has the
muzzle
adapter.
brake's $50.
Yeah, so the muzzle brakes are $50. You got to buy those separately, I think.
Yeah.
But still, that's
You can pick them up
deal
from the
for-
same site. They're $50 extra. You have to select one, but
Yeah.
you get everything together.
Yeah, that's still a really good price for, like you said, for a 30 cal can.
And you could take the can off, and it looks like a darn good brake anyway.
Right.
It's got a good design for that one. 3 chambers. The one in the back is a little bit larger chamber, and the 2 chambers forward of that are a little bit thinner. So it looks like a good brake design overall. That I would expect the brake to be more expensive. Honestly, what's with LaRue? I thought LaRue was synonymous with expensive rifle parts. What is this, like, cheap MSRP stuff I'm seeing?
I think they want to get in.
Well, yeah, they're in.
I think they want to get in.
They are in.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at the AAC quick detach brakes and flash hiders that they have. I mean, they start at, I think, like $80, and most of them are $100, $120.
Pretty much a low end, well, not low end, but middle or low end is $50. I mean, that's pretty much where almost everyone sits, unless you get what I got and put on my, dissipator. That's pretty much what you'll spend.
Yeah.
Amen.
So if you want to check out the suppressor, go to LaRue.com and then look up their LaRue Tranquilo sound suppressor. So we got 2 more. We're past an hour. We're gonna keep going, blaze through these. So the next one we got up, we went to 5.56 to 30 cal. Now we're gonna step it up. We're gonna go to 338 caliber. Because the popularity of the 338 diameter cartridge is growing with 338 Lapua, 338 Edge, 338 Federal, 338 Winchester. There's a lot of 338 calibers coming that have grown in popularity for longer range shooting. They're just a fatter bullet going down range. So if you want to suppress that, you're going to have to get a bigger can. Obviously, 30 cal is going to be too small for that. So, SIG has released a bunch of cans in the last year or so. They've got an interesting look to them. They kind of look like torpedoes. So the 338 can that they have is called, abbreviated heavily. It's called the SRD 338 TI-QD. Whew. So that's got to be like the SIG, I don't know, research and development 338 titanium TI, and then QD for quick detach. So it's rated for 338 Lapua Magnum, which is obviously the big daddy of the 338 calibers. So obviously, if it's rated for that, it's good for the lesser velocity, lesser pressure calibers. It's got 138 decibels, grade 5 titanium, and it's got that fast attach function. So it utilizes fast attach muzzle devices to attach the silencer to the rifle. It's available in 5/8 by 24 TPI, which matches most of the sporting rifles in those calibers. One nice thing about 338, a lot like the 45 can for pistols, is that you can shoot 308 and 7.62 out of it just fine. So this would make a great can for putting onto different rifles. I'm pretty sure 300 Win Mag and 30-06 should work in this rifle, no problem. Also, the rear mount has wrench flats to torque the silencer to the barrel, or I should say to the muzzle device. There is a secondary retention latch that is depressed to remove the silencer from the mount. It's rated up to the Lapua Magnum. The examples of all the other calibers, actually virtually every rifle caliber can go through this. I mean, if you have got a 204 Ruger, 223, 300 Blackout, 7.62 by 39. You better make sure that's not an AK, or if it is an AK, that barrel the threads are concentric to the barrel, or else that's not going to be very good. 6.5 Grendel Creedmoor, 6.8 SPC, 260 Remington. Anything smaller than 338 diameter should work out of this suppressor. So it's kind of nice if you only want to buy one suppressor and be done with it for all your rifle calibers. This could potentially be the one if you have stepped up to larger than 30, the 338. So the dimensions, it's 10.5 inches long, it's 1 3/4 inches wide, so it's a very wide can. The weight is 18.9 ounces, which I'm surprised that the weight is not more than that. That's actually pretty decent. That must be the titanium shaving some ounces off of that. It's got an MSRP of $995, which is not too bad considering some 30 cal titanium cans I've seen. If you wanted to suppress your 300 Win Magnum, we're definitely in the $1,100 and $1,200 range.
Yeah, they're coming in at a good price point with that, good weight. I mean, yeah, if you want to fork out that much money, you pretty much will have a suppressor for anything you want.
Everything
except the next one you're going to talk about whenever we get there.
Yeah, except the next caliber.
I am really looking forward to
Yeah, I was looking
suppressor,
at it.
though.
You're not looking forward to it?
No, I'm definitely looking forward to the 6-hour suppressors. I mean, they have a lot of talent working for them now.
Who went there? Because I know a few people from a couple of different companies went to SIG, and I can't remember what it was. It seems like no one wants to talk about it.
It was the people that one of the companies Remington bought, I think.
AAC.
Yep.
Yeah, I think some of them went there, and some other people went there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. I mean, it was somebody big split up and went somewhere, like a super group broke up or something, and some went to SIG and some went the other way.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get into name dropping, Kevin Brittingham, he was the founder of AAC, and he has more than 40 patents, and he led the development of the 300 AAC Blackout cartridge. So obviously, when Remington, Cerberus, the big Freedom Group thing, bought out happened, he went to obviously SIG for company politics type reasons. So you've got a big name heading up your department since they came from AAC, which is still a pretty prominent suppressor company. Obviously, we didn't mention any cans from this week, but kind of we did because we mentioned the SIG and it's coming from Kevin. So AAC fanboys should still be appeased at that fact.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty big deal because I saw them on Guns and Ammo TV talking about they were bringing the SIGs, silencers. SIGs would make silencers now. And I'm like, well, who is this guy? And I kind of recognize him from SHOT Show videos. But being that I'm from Jersey, I pay attention to stuff because it's gun-related.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's not real high on my. Really, you're just gonna put it in front of it and just keep showing it to me. I hope
Yeah.
you drop your damn suppressor.
They did snag John Hollister too. He was also a big veteran from AAC. So that's two
Okay.
big.
Oh, hold on. I wish a baffle strike upon you.
No,
Not
that's
cool, man.
that's
Not
not cool, dude. That's
We'll walk it off.
That's harsh.
Walk it off.
That's harsh.
Yeah,
All right, so of course we're going up in calibers. We got one more suppressor to mention. What other caliber could we be talking about that's bigger than 3038? Well,
20 millimeter.
none other than the king of the mountain, 50 cal, big enchilada. So, of course, a name that is synonymous with the 50 BMG round, Barrett, has a new suppressor out. It's called the QDL suppressor. So this thing looks like it belongs on a Barrett 50 cal. This thing is mean looking. So it's compatible with the Barrett M107A1, which is the semi-auto that we're all familiar with, but also the Model 99 and the Model 95, which are those bolt-action, bullpup configurations that you might have seen. It is not compatible with the Model 82A1, which might bum some people out if you own one of those. Obviously, hopefully you've spent the money on a 50 cal. You've got one of the ones that this suppressor will fit on, because that's quite an investment to switch over. So it uses it's got a muzzle brake on the end of it. It's got a 2-port muzzle brake on the end of the suppressor, which I'm not sure. It's an oxymoron materialized. It's a suppressor with a muzzle brake on the end of it. Holy cow! So it's an auxiliary muzzle brake that supposedly reduces the recoil of suppressed fire. So I guess suppressing 50 cal, you still get some recoil. So they had to put a brake on the end of it to reduce that.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. When minimal visible signature is required, the bolt-on auxiliary muzzle brake can be easily removed. So if you're trying to be really quiet, and you don't want a dust devil to kick up in your location after you fire this amazing round, you can obviously just screw that off, and then you're fine.
Yeah, when you're cutting loose with 13,000 foot-pounds of energy, yeah, you might have to have a muzzle brake on the end of your suppressor.
Not on Call of Duty. I'm just kidding. Psych. So it's got a dual-layer tube constructed of heat-treated high-strength alloys that they're not really mentioning. So it might be some kind of titanium alloy. They're a little bit secretive about that.
Or Inconel or something.
Inconel.
Like that.
Yeah. Let's see. I do not see. It says 4130 steel as the materials. I doubt that's all there is to it.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. So by simply sliding the suppressor over the muzzle brake directly into the indexing point, proper alignment is guaranteed every time. So it's got a redundant 360-degree welding, making it the safest large bore suppressor on the market. So once in place, the Barrett's unique lock ring coupler clicks into ratchet grooves for a secure fit that is supposed to be very secure. In fact, the entire system is designed to ensure perfect consistency with every installation in seconds. So they do have retail price that's supposed to reflect U.S. commercial sales only. If for military law enforcement, which of course is 50 cal, there's a lot of military law enforcement agencies that are running that and might want to get themselves a can. They've got a special form for you to fill out and get some special pricing for that. So if you're a commercial guy and you want to buy this can for your 50 cal that you've shelled out tens of thousands of dollars for, this Barrett QDL suppressor is $2,978 MSRP. Whew. Man, that's more expensive than any rifle I own. But if you have a Barrett, it's probably just a drop in the bucket for you anyway.
And they do a good. I haven't shot this particular suppressor behind a 50 cal, but I have shot a Barrett with a suppressor. And they do a phenomenal job of suppressing something that you would think would be hard to suppress.
Yeah, it says it's got a total decibel reduction of 23 decibels. There's some magic happening inside of that can. The length added to the rifle's overall length is 12.73 inches. You've got a little bit of that barrel overhang, so that's why they say length added as opposed to the total length of the can is 14.84 inches. So it just overhangs your barrel a little bit. Diameter, of course, is 2.5 inches. This is a wide can, as it should be. The weight is, you know how I was talking about ounces earlier, and how a 20-ounce can is a little bit on the heavy side?
How many pounds?
This can is 4.88 pounds. Not ounces, pounds. You could curl this suppressor and get a little bit of a potato going.
Almost 5 pounds.
Wow. It comes in black or flat dark earth Cerakote. It mounts using that quick detach 1/4 turn lock ring. And yeah, it's available now. Get on it.
I don't know what to say about this, except it's got a muzzle brake on the end.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I was actually gonna, buy this and move out of state and buy this, but the 4 extra pounds on the end of my 30-pound rifle is too much, so I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that's a deal breaker for you.
Yeah, it's a deal breaker. It pushes the weight of the rifle with that and the scope up to like 40, 50 pounds. No, I can't even. No.
Well, the muzzle velocity of that bullet, you shouldn't even be concerned with the speed of sound. Like, if they heard the shot, they weren't the target. So I guess it only counts if you're shooting at multiple targets and you vaporized the first one.
No, you forgot what you said at the beginning of the podcast. It masks your signature of where the sound comes from.
That is. Did I say that? That would have been. That sounds a little smart. I don't think I said that.
I think you did.
That is because. Yeah, it does not. Obviously, the big myth is like Hollywood. Does it make it go pew pew and like really quiet, like a Steven Seagal movie? No, it does not. That's Hollywood trickery. That's a big taboo, and that just gets me all sorts of angry. So what it does is it reduces the sound to safe hearing levels. Should have covered this in the beginning of the show, but now that you've listened to all of it,
I thought you did, but I don't remember.
I didn't. I assumed people knew. So basically, yeah, it doesn't make it silent. You're not going to be a silent assassin. It helps if you're getting shot at. Imagine you're in a wartime theater with a suppressed rifle. You're going to have a hard time locating with your ears and your eyes where that came from because the signature is reduced. And, of course, the shooter and his observer did not blow their eardrums out because they didn't have ear pro in. So that's kind of the whole point. Obviously, for civilians, we're more concerned about our hearing safety than anything else.
I was listening to someone talk about the Marines that are in now. Because when I was in, we did house-to-house fighting. We did the training for that. But really, we were still looking at the whole Warsaw Pact thing and fighting in Europe while I was in. These guys now are doing a lot of CQB. And, yeah, having suppressors on the end of their rifle will probably save a lot of their hearing. There are probably going to be a lot of veterans getting a lot of checks because of hearing loss, pretty much due to the last 10 years of this war on terror. The guys have been firing AR-15 or M16 type firearms inside a home. It's loud. And these guys are going to have hearing damage that lasts the rest of their life. And sometimes it grows. It just gets worse, you know what I mean? Because you damage your hearing as a young man. I know doing the job I did, working in the computer vans, every van had a air condition pretty much a little bigger than the door in your house. Every van, and it was a metal van, and those things ran 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that just level of noise deteriorates your hearing over a period of time. So I can't imagine multiple gunfights running through a city, doing a tour or multiple tours during your career would do to your hearing.
Yep.
But we have this whole stigma in this country against suppressors based upon nothing but movies and Hollywood. How ridiculous is that?
Yeah, and when one of the more firearm restrictive nations in the world, the UK, you can get a suppressor over to the counter for varmint control because they don't have this Hollywood stigma, and it's actually like common etiquette to get one. You know, obviously you've got to live, you know, in the outskirts, not in downtown London. But you know, if you're doing varmint control with a rifle, you can go and get a suppressor over the counter, no tax stamps, no weight, and they're actually less expensive over there, believe it or not. But it's considered rude to shoot unsuppressed. You know, if you don't own like all the acreage around you and you're contributing to noise pollution, you're considered rude by not suppressing a rifle. That's an amazing fact. I wish that's the one thing I envy the UK about. The one thing. Everything else, no.
Yeah. This is how ridiculous New Jersey is with suppressors. One, forget about it unless you're a police department or you're, of course, military. But some pellet guns come with internal suppressors, you know, to quiet down the sound of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are illegal in this state. Only a few you can have in this state, suppressed pellet guns.
You got to be kidding me, man.
Not joking. Suppressed pellet guns, some of them are illegal. Slingshots are illegal. Totally, 100% illegal in New Jersey. And if you buy a BB gun pistol or a pellet gun pistol, you need a pistol purchasing permit if you buy one from a store. But you can drive across the border to PA and buy one over the counter and bring it into this state 100% legally because no one on earth considers a BB gun a pistol except the state of New Jersey.
Come on, man, you're bringing me down. I was so excited, and you're bringing me down with this New Jersey nonsense.
Yeah, we were so excited over that.
Don't move here. See how lucky you are.
So that's all for the suppressors. I mean, we covered 6. That's a lot of information for you guys, and there's a lot of suppressors out there. Obviously, we didn't mention Silencer Co. or AAC or any of the other big names silencers out there. These are ones that I kind of handpicked that kind of added a little bit more innovation this year with some new features that were kind of unique. Obviously, you go to the store, your Class 3 dealer, take a look at what they have under the counter. You don't have to buy the brand new can. You know, like here's a secret. Like I just got like a discontinued AAC Eco 9 9mm suppressor for like $400. It's discontinued. It's brand new. It's still got the forever warranty, but is a $400 9mm suppressor just because they moved to the Evo 9. Eco 9 is just as quiet, just a little bit longer. I was going to put it on an SBR anyway, so bam. You know, you just got to do your research a little bit and, you know, talk to the salesperson, the guy behind the counter, and figure out what's going to be best for you. Now we're going to get into the Tech Gadget app, and I thought it would be really beneficial to talk to you guys about trusts and setting up a trust for yourself that these all these NFA items can be added to, and that really helps in collecting these, ensuring that if you pass away earlier or by ripe old age, that these suppressors get handed down to your loved ones, to your wife, to your kids, even to your friends if you write them into your trust, without them each having to pay a $200 tax stamp and wait for these things to get out of NFA jail. Now I know there's more forms you could fill out to get that transferred to you without having to fill out a tax stamp, but this just kind of cuts through some of that red tape. Also, instead of you want a suppressor, you don't have a trust, so you kind of apply for it as an individual. Well, there's a lot of places where you have to get LEO sign-off, meaning you got to go to your sheriff and go, hi, I want to get the suppressor, and that sheriff, depending on whether he likes you or not, whether or not you're dating his sister or his daughter, whether or not you live in California or a different state where they laugh at you when you come in the door with a request for sign-off, you can circumvent that. Your trusts do not require a law enforcement sign-off, so that's another great feature. So trust, you can have a lawyer set it up for you. Obviously, that's going to cost a lot of money, and a lot of times, you know, if they don't specialize in it, you know, they just kind of make a general trust, and it doesn't, fulfill all your needs, and you might run into some problems down the line. What I'm going to talk about right now is Silencer Co. See, I knew I'd mention them on this episode. You got to. They've got something on their website that makes getting a trust a lot easier, and it's called Easy Trust. So if you go to silencerco.com/NFA-trust, or just go to their website, and they've got an Easy Trust link in their navigation, or go to the show notes on the Firearms Insider website, click on the show notes for this podcast, and click on the link. You get to the NFA Firearms Trust Done Easy page. So basically, they just give you an easy step-by-step process, and you can buy a trust, and it's only $129.99. You might be thinking, why am I paying $130 for some pieces of paper? This thing is going to be awesome. I have a trust. It's amazing. When I want to buy a new suppressor, I make 2 copies of the trust. I go down to the shop. Bam, they have all the information they need. I can pick the can out, write them a check, walk away, and they can handle the rest. They call me when my suppressor's in. So it's really easy. Easy Trust is 50 state legal. The process of ratification will differ by state, but they'll send you a document detailing the processes you'll need to follow per your state. So actually, $130 is a fraction of the cost of what typical gun trusts cost by going to an actual lawyer. So this kind of helps make it accessible to everyone, which is great because that's kind of goes along with all of Silencer Co.'s activism, is rejecting the idea that silencers are expensive, they're dangerous, they're assassin's tools, and that getting a trust is a luxury type thing that not everyone can afford. They're making it really easy so more people can have access and enjoy suppressors. So you go to this page, it says buy now, it's got an FAQ and a how to purchase. I just click on how to purchase, so it gives me a quick, easy step. It gives me 7 steps. So it just says, step 1, after purchasing the Easy Trust, you'll receive a single-use link sent to your email address. During the checkout process, upon clicking the link, you'll be sent to the Easy Trust form page with important details. After reviewing the details, just click Next. Step 2, you enter the name of the trust settler and then click Next. So this is the person who is giving their property to the trust, so you. Step 3, you list the trustees and click Next. So your wife, your kids, your friends, you put that information there under trustees. That's step 3. Step 4, you list the beneficiaries. These are the people who are entitled to the benefit of any trust arrangement. The settler cannot be a beneficiary. To guide your decision in picking a beneficiary, ask yourself who would like to receive the assets in the trust after you die. So who do I want my cans to go to after I die? And that would be the beneficiary. The trustees will be people that can help make decisions and add to the trust and whatnot.
The other thing about the trustees is in a trust, like if your wife's on there, she can actually take, say, the can and go shoot it without you being there. But if you're on an individual without a trust, you have to basically be with the can the whole time.
Yep, very good point. Thanks for bringing that up. I forgot to mention that. That's a big deal. If you want the ability for your family or your friends or your kids to shoot your can without you being present and on there legally, you got to have them as trustees. Step 5 is choosing a trust name. So you can just say, what's your last name? Wallace, the Wallace Trust, or the Wallace NFA Trust, or the Wallace Family Trust. You can name it whatever you want. Don't name it NFA Sucks Blow Me Trust, because they might think you're funny and cancel that or screw with you. The advantage to that is if you want to add SBRs to your trust, that name has to be engraved on your lower when you SBR that lower or that pistol.
That's exactly what I was just going to bring up. And
so
my original trust name is pretty long actually. I ended up putting it on the front of the mag well, but Had I thought about it beforehand, I definitely would have picked a simpler name or something easier to engrave.
Now, I did get it. Well, I got my trust done through a gun shop when I got my first can, and they did it for free. So I can't argue with my trust name because it didn't cost me anything to set up the trust. However, it's long. It's Ryan Scott Cross Revocable Living Trust Agreement. I gotta have that entire thing engraved on any lowers I get. You can imagine how frustrating that is. Now, you can file for what's called a variance, which is you telling the ATF, hey, this is my trust name, I want to shorten it to this, and then, you know, they can approve it or deny it. So that's one option. You know, if you're doing business as a company, Advanced Armament Corporation, and you want the variance of AAC to be able to stamp onto your receiver, that's basically what a variance is. The ability to shorten that name or give some kind of replacement nickname so you can shorten that down a little bit.
And on a different note, because if you have a trust, and like you said with the SBRs, if you manufacture one, the trust manufactures it, you have to imprint the whole name. But you can also, in the same respect, you can manufacture your own suppressor with the trust, and that whole trust name has to be on there also.
Yeah. So pick a name you're going to like for the rest of your life unless you plan on filing for a variance in the future. So keeping it short and sweet, you know, just last name trust or last name NFA trust is ideal. Don't get too long with it unless you've got a really long last name, in which case I apologize. So step 6 is you select the state and you enter the county, parish, or borough where you live. Or barrio? That's borough, sorry.
Borough.
Not barrio. I did that on purpose. So then step 7 is that you ensure all your information is correct. You hit submit, and they give you additional instructions mailed to you during the checkout process, and then bam, you know, they'll get that filled out for you. They'll email it to you. Let's see, I don't know if they mail you. Please allow 30 minutes for the additional instructions to be sent. This form is not legal advice and is to be used at your own direction, so you know they're not assuming a legal responsibility for, you know, if anything happens, you don't comply and you're like, well, my trust said this from Silencer Code, you know, they're not going to be at fault for that kind of thing. So, but it's really nice. You print this thing out, and you can, you know, make 2 copies of it whenever you go get an NFA item, and that's usually what the store needs is 2 copies. And it's really simple. And if you move, that's one thing I encountered this last year, is that I had set up my trust in one city in Washington, and then I moved to the other side of the state. And so I thought, well, my trust has my old address on there. How do I fix that? Well, I'll have to look up the name of it, but there's an easy form you fill out, and you send that to the ATF saying, this is my old address, this is my new address, and these are the items in my NFA trust that are going along with that. And I just attach that with every copy of my trust that I make. So then once you do that and you buy a suppressor, you send out your $200 check for the tax stamp, and then you know, you obviously buy the can or you put a down payment on the can, and then you know, cross your fingers and, you know, mark an X on your calendar so you can keep track of how many days it took. Hopefully it's not 8 to 10 months. Hopefully it's closer to 6 or 4 or less if you're lucky. So you get the can when your manufacturer or your store gets the tax stamp on the Form 4, and they give you a call, and you know, when you see that caller ID and it says, you know, X gun store or wherever, you know, you can perk right up and head over there. So you pay off your balance if you still owe on the can, and you know, I encourage you to take your Form 4 and make lots of copies of it. Make smaller copies of it so you can fold it up and put it in your wallet. Make copies small enough to fold up and put it into your glove box. I always was told that if I'm ever out shooting and the, you know, sheriff or Forest Service or whatever authority, air quotes, is there and is like, hey man, that's a suppressor, that's scary, like, you got a permit for that? You can actually go, yeah, and then you can pull out like little 3x5 shrunk down version and say, here's my tax stamp, here's my Form 4, suck it. You can cancel that last part, and if you don't want to get in too much trouble. But so yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, like in my state, the thing with like the little copies is you have to supply one if they ask you for one.
Yeah.
Like if law enforcement says you need to, do you have a permit or anything, or do you have the form? If they actually know what's going on, you have to be able to show them a copy, or that's like some crime by itself here.
Oh,
Wow.
I don't know if that's in every state, but it's never a bad idea to have have copies of forms in your wallet. I mean, really, like make it small. Make it small so you can fold it in half and half again and have it fit inside your wallet. If they can't read all the details, that's not really your problem. Yeah. You made a copy of it. You can tell it's got a tax stamp. As long as you can read on there, like the serial number and the kind of suppressor it is and your name, so they can check your ID and verify that it's all legit, then that's all you need.
Yeah, I have tons of copies. You shove them in the stocks or the pistol grips and suppressor pouches, and about every soft bag has one in it probably.
So I do the same, and I keep a little Ziploc full of them too. Throw it in a bag. Whatever bag I have probably already has one, but I throw it in anyways.
Yep.
I feel sorry for you guys with all that paperwork.
Oh, yeah.
It's a total
I feel sorry for you and all those foam earplugs. So, yeah, I mean, I did a lot of talking. This was a very information-rich episode, but, I mean, Alex, do you want to add anything to since you obviously own more cans than I do?
Well, I'm not really sure what to add to it, but I mean, it's just so much fun, and it is really addicting. I mean, people talk about it all the time, where you get the stamp, and you are a stamp collector at this point. You know, it's kind of fun to be able to run around on the farm or go to the gun club outdoors and not have hearing protection on, talking with your friends, talking with your significant other, or your fiance in someone's case now. Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
But yeah, it's I mean, they're a lot of fun, and like I started off talking about, I mean, it's a great way to introduce new shooters to it. It's just so easy to give instruction and to mitigate the scariness of a loud noise going bang and explosion in your hand, you know?
Yeah. And then also there's a lot of states that are now, legalizing suppressing for hunting, which is huge because nobody likes wearing ear protection while you're hunting because it deafens you. You can't hear the deer crunching in the leaves or the elk bugling in the distance, or the mountain lion sneaking up behind you. Like you need to have full senses when you're out there hunting, and obviously when you're shooting an animal unsuppressed, people have been doing it for centuries. The adrenaline, you kind of don't really care at this point. I mean, I've had my ears rung in the duck blind, and when your adrenaline's up, you don't really care. But if everybody had a Salvo 12 on their duck gun, like that would be the most fun day of duck shooting, because I would be, wow, is this what it's like when it's quiet? Like I can hear the ducks flying and quacking, and it's so much better. It's better for you. I mean, they're afraid that people are going to poach with suppressors because, I shot the spike bull that I didn't want. I was aiming for its big brother next to it. Well, I shot it with a suppressor. Nobody heard it. I'm going to go ahead and shoot its bigger brother and just pretend that was a mulligan and forget that smaller animal. That's not true, because you can still hear that shot. It doesn't deaden it. Someone 5 miles away, might have a little bit harder time determining your location, but it doesn't make it silent to the guy that's like 200 yards from you. Not at all.
I'm still laughing at the thought of you sitting in the duck blind with a Salvo 12 and a bunch of guys. It looks like someone's growing trees out of the ground. I saw the video of the Salvo 12.
They are huge. I saw them in real life. I can't believe they're huge. Like, instead of worried about getting your ears shot out. You're worried about getting smacked in the face when they turn their, whip their barrel around.
Yeah, they have a toaster on the end of a duck gun. It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she said.
I mean, if you drive,
No, really.
if you drive a Scion, one of those like square boxy toaster cars, you're gonna love it.
Well, I'm laughing because the guys that own Barrett 50 cals look and go, "Hey, that thing's kind of big on the end, isn't it?" And they got a shoebox size brake on the end. They go, "That Salvo 12's ridiculous."
Well, at least it doesn't weigh 5 pounds.
Yeah. It doesn't. It's light.
I don't know. I'll look that up real quick while you guys talk amongst the listeners.
I think the only other thing that I would really talk about would be, picking out a really good dealer. Having someone that you can trust with stuff like this is paramount to me. I mean, you're forking over money and you're waiting 3, 4, 5, 6 months right now. When I bought some of mine, I was waiting over a year for these things, and I was lucky to find Immortal Arms where I buy all my stuff from. But some of the dealers out there they don't know how to operate when it comes to NFA. I mean, it's a tricky subject, and it's just getting worse all the time too. I mean, we have forms that just the other day, a friend of mine who also works at the shop, he was submitting a Form 1 online, and he paid, hit submit, and at that point it disappeared. They took his $200, but there is no form submitted in his listing now. So, I mean, there's just tons of issues with the NFA branch of the ATF right now. Having that dealer you can trust and has your back is a really good thing. But also, once you pay that money and you ship off your forms and stuff, leave your dealer alone. The worst thing you could do is bug them every other day. Hey, is my form back yet? Is my form back yet? They have no control over that, and it can be frustrating for everyone when you're doing that to a good dealer and just burning him out trying to chase your stuff down when there's nothing he can do about it one way or the other.
Yeah. I mean, trust me, when they get it in, they're going to be excited to call you and tell you to come get it. So.
Yeah, they wanted
What's
out of
the
it
wait time?
at that point.
Yeah, especially if they sell a lot of suppressors, they got a whole shelf NFA jail where these things are sitting. They're going to want to free up that shelf space. So.
Tony asked wait time. It's anywhere from 4 to 6 months on average right now, maybe a little bit longer depending on where you're at and what pile of paperwork yours happens to fall into when it gets to West Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty much it's about how long it takes to get a pistol purchasing permit in Jersey.
I have no idea what that means, but sure.
Yeah, but
Yeah, of course you don't.
is
You live in America.
you get a suppressor instead of just a pistol that we can go down and buy in 15 minutes.
Yeah, to enlighten you. In New Jersey, you need to get a permit from the state to say you can purchase your pistol. And
That means
it takes... Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you're asking permission every time, no matter who it's from, I mean, that means it's not your pistol at that point. It's theirs, and you're asking to take it home for the night.
Yeah, pretty much you ask for permission to exercise a civil right. And it's supposed to take 30 days, and pretty much it takes 4 or 6 months. I got lucky last time. It took 2 months.
So you have to plan 6 months.
You got to wait on
advance.
that. Oh, I was so angry because I was dumb. I saw a pistol I wanted. It was on sale. And I put in my paperwork, and I was waiting for it. Of course, it was gone by the time my paperwork came through. So this time, when I saw a pistol I wanted, I bought it, had it sent to my FFL, and then I put in for the paperwork. And at least it was mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I visited twice. I visited my pistol twice. That was pretty cool.
That's the other cool thing about having a good Class 3 dealer, a Title 2 dealer. Mark over at Immortal Arms, all of his customers know they can come over and have some conjugal visits while everything is waiting on being processed.
I was just going to say, do they call it conjugal?
Absolutely.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I got my tactical fondle on a couple of times with my CZs before I was able to pick them up.
Yeah, and a good NFA dealer will let you, or make an arrangement to meet you at the range or something like that, so you can, use what you're basically waiting for. So that's always a good thing too.
Tony, what do you think of that, buddy?
Nice. Aluminum grips or CZ? What are they? VZ grips?
No, they're aluminum. They're actually made by a company in North Carolina, Shooting Sports Innovations. They're scale grips, and you can actually see right through the gun.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Was like seeing through the gun. That's awesome.
I'll say, what the hell?
Yeah,
did
you should
Tor-
have seen it, guys. My CZ75, it's a pre-B CZ75, was made in 1987. Thing is as tight as a brand new gun.
Nice.
No rattle, no shake. I took it to Gun for Hire. A lot of guys there shoot competitively. When I opened up the box and they saw a CZ, you would have thought a Kardashian walked in the room. All of them gathered around and they were like, "Can we dry fire it? Can we dry fire it? It's something different. We want to shoot it." It was great.
That's what these are for. I have a pair of them now, and they're for a USPSA production competition.
Man, we
Yeah,
should
the
have
trigger break on those are ridiculous.
We should have had you on the 3-gun episodes, man.
I don't know if I could have contributed any better.
That's okay.
All right. Well, yeah, as much as I love the small talk, you got to close the podcast at some time. So we don't have any listener feedback. Of course, hopefully if you guys want to win this Surefire Suppressor, you'll leave us some iTunes reviews and give me some listener feedback anyway. So, Tony, you got anything going on with the Second is for Everyone Diversity Shoot coming up?
Second is for Everyone Diversity Shoot goes off this Thursday at 6 o'clock. So far, we're due to have twice as many people show up this time as last time. Actually, 3 times as many people showing up. So it's pretty exciting. I was on Gun for Hire Radio, and guys have come through in Jersey to actually help me out and be instructors, hang out at the place and help anybody that needs help, and also keep an overall eye on people, making sure everyone stays safe. So it's going to be a lot of fun this Thursday. I'm going to have a lot of stuff to raffle off. If you can't get out to this one, I'll have another one coming up in November. So brace yourself. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a buttload of pictures on my Simon Says Train Instagram and my Simon Says Train Facebook page. So thanks a lot for having me on every week and let me talk about this. I really appreciate it, Ryan.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. And also very great that Alex jumped in and joined us and brought all of his NFA friends to the party, so thank you for that.
You got it, man. Thanks for letting me come in.
Yeah. So send questions or comments to podcast@firearmsinsider.tv or cross@firearmsradio.tv. Nothing we've said on this show constitutes legal NFA advice, FYI. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review, especially if you want to win this free Surefire muzzle brake. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network by going to firearmsradio.tv/iTunes. And be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for reviews and industry coverage. And check on the Facebook page. Give us a like, especially if you want to win this muzzle brake. I'm going to be talking about suppressors for a while now. So, yeah, awesome show. 100th episode. Congratulations to everybody. To TJ that wasn't on the show. Thank him. I wanted to thank him on the air, but thank you, buddy, for coming on the show all these times and being a good supporter and co-host, as well as to you guys and even Alex for joining. Thank you for supporting me on the air, keeping me on task, and making me sound good or bad, however the day goes. But thank you, listeners, for listening to the show and sending me emails with your feedback, even adding me on Facebook and shooting me messages saying, yeah, I just got that gun, or oh, I just sold that gun, it was crap, or oh, I really want that gun, but my wife won't let me buy it. Like, I love all those emails. I really appreciate it, guys. So here's to raise your suppressors in the air, and here's to another 100 episodes.
I hate you guys. I hate you guys.
Don't have enough hands. Hey, Tony, hold one for me. I need help.
Oh, okay.
All right, catch you guys on the next episode.
Later.
Bye.